ticker.
Oh, I see it.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Thank you so much for joining us. I am very excited to introduce you today, Tristan Higgins, one of my good friends and a very smart friend. And we are privileged to have Tristan today with us. I am going to pass it on to Tristan, and Tristan is going to let us know what she does, which is very exciting, and I can't wait to learn all about what she does. Welcome.
Oh my goodness. Roxanne, thank you so much for the introduction. I really am honored that you would want to chat with me on Facebook Live. And I will tell you, this is the first time I have done a Facebook Live, so hopefully I do all right.
Oh, you'll do fine, I'm sure.
All right. So, well, I think, please go ahead.
So I am just so curious to hear all about you. So tell us what you do. Tell us what your background is, what your education is. We're here and want to learn all about you.
Okay. Wow. Like a first date. So I'm a San Diego. I've been in San Diego for, 35 years or so. I went to school here. I got a theater degree. And then I went to law school, and I've been a lawyer for 24 years now. And I just recently decided to step away from corporate and entertainment law, where I most recently was at Sony, to focus exclusively on the topic that's near and dear to my heart, which is diversity, equity, inclusion. And I add intersectionality, which I can explain at another point. But to start a consulting and speaking firm called Metaclusive. And I created my own word, which turns out to be great when it comes to Google. Meta, so I think there's two inferences from the word meta. If you have scientists, they probably think metadata. And if you have comic book superhero geeks, they think metahuman. And so both of those work. The idea is that we are extra supercharged diversity and inclusion. That's the idea of metaclusive. So we want to create a space where everyone feels represented, valued, and accepted. And those three things, to me, really are past the concept of diversity and inclusion, which is why I created the word metaclusive.
Wow, that is amazing. It's the work of a really smart person.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. And creative, right? Like I guess I miss my theater roots. So if you have, if I speak to your audience, if somebody has me come into their company, I talk about superheroes all the time. I think part of that is that this is sometimes a very difficult subject. And so I try to do it in a way that's light, not to be disrespectful, but to help kind of ease people into things, right? Like even the fact that if you have a team of superheroes, whether you're a DC or Marvel fan, it doesn't matter. Each of those superheroes has different powers, right? It's one of the ways that I like to approach it for the workplace. There's only one Aquaman, and there's one Superman, and each of them have different powers. And of course, they each have one guy who's really, really rich, but they all have their own abilities. And that is like what we're trying to create in the workplace, is you want different people from different backgrounds who speak different languages, that are different ages and from different places, because they can come together and give you these supercharged solutions in your business space. And of course, this is true everywhere, but I'm mostly focused on business. And, you get more innovation, you get stronger decision-making, and we know you get higher profit. I mean, it's all there, but I love to use the superhero reference for it, because it just, I don't know. Yeah.
It sticks. People love it.
I hope so. I'm surrounded by superheroes. You can't see it here, but I have, I'm I love Marvel and DC. So I have both, sort of like the PC or the Apple. I got both, and Star Wars, right? I'm just surrounded by it. So I use a lot of that. I think it's very approachable, right? Hopefully it's approachable.
So tell us, I'm going to throw your name, and tell us about the pronouns that you use. What do they mean? Significance?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm sure you and everyone else know what they mean as far as she and her. But in this context, I like to use pronouns after my name for a couple of reasons. Not the least of which is that I have a very kind of masculine presenting face and appearance. And so especially in online world, sometimes people think that I'm a guy, and it's better for them if I let them know right away. They should say, she, if they were talking about me. But the second reason that I do it, and that comes up more often than you can imagine, perhaps. But the second reason I do it is that there are so many people in our society who don't have the pronouns that are normally assigned to them by you and I and everybody else on the street don't fit. They don't feel right. And so one of the ways that I can help be metaclusive and help make space for those people is to include the pronouns myself. Because for me, I do line up. She and her feels good. I'm, female bodied, I'm female identified. But if I have a friend who isn't, they might not want to share their pronouns. But if I do it first, it creates space for them to do it. And so that's why I always do it. I think you'll see it more and more often, even, maybe it's a kind of an inside group still, but even on my LinkedIn, I'm starting to see it on quite a lot of people. And, you'll see even unusual pronouns, right? You'll see Z and zer. But I think the most common is you'll see they or them, if somebody's non-binary or gender non-conforming. And though I don't claim any of those identities necessarily, I definitely am gender non-conforming in the sense that a lot of people see me and think I'm a dude, and I'm not. So thank you for asking. That's why I like to do that. And I would encourage people to do it. You certainly don't have to, I don't want anyone, in this space, we don't want people to feel like they have to do that, because some people just don't feel comfortable. It doesn't feel right to them. But if it does, it's a great thing to put in your email footer. It's a great thing to put on your Zoom, link like you've done here for me. And and if people want to know more about that, they can certainly reach out to me. I'm happy to talk about this stuff all day long.
I am actually on a board of another nonprofit, and we had a speaker that came in and gave us a whole class on the pronouns, and that was actually very good, because it opens your eyes to how to first of all recognize the pronouns, and then also how to address people that way.
Yeah. Well, it's not organic to you, right? Like if it's not something that you're dealing with, and I think certainly people my age, I'm 50 now, we didn't have friends who had that when we were kids. We didn't learn that when we were first in school. And, I have two kids now, and they already, 16 and 13, they already have friends who tend to identify in something other than what we would consider standard. In fact, they did a study recently, and 27% of the 18 to 25-year-olds that were surveyed said they identified with something other than straight, she, he. And I thought that was kind of a shocking number of people. So whether you like it or whether I like it, this is kind of the world. And so it's good for us to just signal that acceptance.
So tell us more about Metaclusive. Actually, before we forget, we should tell everybody, put in a plug about our wonderful organization where we met as well.
Oh yes, please.
Lawyers Club. Do you want to tell our audience a little bit about Lawyers Club?
Oh gosh, I would love to. I was recently elected to the board. I say that in passive voice, but I lobbied really hard to be elected to the board and was lucky enough to make it. And I am responsible for membership development. So anytime I have a chance to talk, I will be mentioning the Lawyers Club. Lawyers Club is one of the biggest, I think, specialty bar in town. And it was founded in the mid-'70s by a group of women attorneys. And they were not allowed to eat at the Grant Grill, which is a restaurant downtown in a very prestigious hotel that many people know about. And so they went into that restaurant and sat down and would not leave until they were served. And out of that, they started a group called the Lawyers Club. And of course, everyone is welcome to join. But the focus of the group is to advance the status of women in law and society. And it is a feminist organization through and through. In fact, when I just took the oath, Justice McConnell, who swore us in, had us state that we were proud feminists and would never apologize for it. And I just love that. So practically speaking, it's a fantastic organization in town for networking. It's primarily attorneys, but obviously we're lucky enough to have people like you, Roxanne, who join us, business owners. Actually. What's that?
I am very thankful that you let me into your club.
Well, I didn't, of course, anyone is welcome, but I do, I really do appreciate it. And, tons of just really connected, powerful people in San Diego are part of the group. And there's lots of great education and CLEs for those who need it, networking events for those who don't. And if you are interested, I would sure love it if you would reach out to me, because I will help connect you. And that's part of our job is we have a lot of sponsorships, but we are a member-driven organization. And so, and I'm really thankful, because you and I don't think we would have met if it wasn't for the Lawyers Club. I mean, maybe we would have, but
well, both theater lovers, so we probably would have met through theater as well.
We would have, although I'm missing my Broadway San Diego this season. I don't know about you, but it's so hard not to go out and see live theater.
It is.
Oh my goodness.
Tell us more about Metaclusive.
Okay.
If people are reaching out to you for speaker opportunities, what is it that you talk about? How does your business work through Metaclusive now? And how do you? Is it law related? Is it speaking related? How do you make money in that business? Tell us more about this.
Okay. Well, the services that I provide through Metaclusive kind of break down into 4 big areas. First one is keynote speaking, like you just mentioned. And the second one, so keynotes, of course, are large gatherings of people where hopefully I'm funny and can help entertain a big corporate event while teaching. And the second type is trainings and workshops, which are more, smaller groups of people. And the difference between trainings and workshops are really just time and exercises versus just me chatting at you. And then there are organizational work. So that's really my bread and butter, which is where an organization, a corporation or a large organization, mid-sized to large organization, I think, would give me a call and say, hey, Tristan, we're trying really hard to do the right thing. And for whatever reason, either we're not moving as fast as we'd like to, we are having some trouble, or we haven't started yet. And we would like help in creating a more inclusive environment, right? And focusing on Metaclusive. And hopefully my message of belonging is really, is striking them. And so in that situation, I can do an assessment. I work with the team. It's a pretty intense process. We come up with areas where that business can make improvements, areas where they maybe are doing better than they thought they did. And really the idea is to make sure it's like a diagnosis by a doctor, right? You don't want to fix a problem that you don't have, and you can't fix a problem if you don't know about it. And after that, I can do more work with the organization to actually help them implement those changes and to really help them move along that path. And then the fourth type of service is executive coaching, one-on-one. So if you have, I think where this kind of comes in play is you've got a CEO who's very well-meaning, but is maybe not quite using the right language, or is uncomfortable and doesn't know how he or she should move forward. And they're not going to feel comfortable getting training like that in a big group of their employees. And so one of the things that I do is I can sit with them in small segments of time, because it's a little easier for CEOs to do short bits. And they can ask me any question they like, and I won't be offended. I can help them with race, gender, religion, veteran status, disability, and really anything you can think of as far as my expertise. I identify as a butch lesbian, non-gender conforming in some ways. I'm an atheist, and I'm a woman, right? So I've got a lot, and I'm disabled. So I have a lot of my own experience with these categories. Obviously, I'm quite white, so I don't have personal experience with race as far as not being white, but I really like to approach and am qualified to talk to my clients about all of the different types of diversity. And, when I like to say you either have a company who is just getting started and they need some help, that's great for me. They've done tons of stuff, but now maybe they just want a fun speaker, or they want to move into a new area, especially if they want to talk about gender. That's one of my real expertise, is talking about LGBTQ plus diversity and inclusion, gender identity. One of the topics that I teach is just how many genders are there. That one's a pretty good one. I have a new presentation that I'm working on called Yes, All White People, which is about white privilege. It probably makes sense. I can talk about, generally speaking, how to be metaclusive. I have talked to people about the numbers, the nitty gritty. Why is it important for them to be metaclusive? Why should they care about D&I? And I think one of the things that is one of my best clients, right, is the idea of, we've spent a lot of money on diversity and inclusion over the years, but we haven't really seen any progress, or we haven't really had an increase in morale, or we haven't really seen our numbers go up, and what's going on. And so that's one of the things that I really can help with, is to fine tune that, because a lot of the diversity and inclusion efforts, although incredibly well-meaning, might be missing the fact that many of your workforce is feeling excluded by those efforts, or the ones that they're targeted at are not feeling included. And so when I talk to organizations, I really talk to them about belonging and creating that atmosphere where everyone feels like they belong, they have a voice, and they are appreciated for that voice.
How does your law degree come into effect with what you're teaching now?
Well, it's a good question, right? Because you don't need to be a lawyer to do what I do right now, because I'm not strictly practicing law. Of course, I'm maintaining my law practice and my law license. But what it means is that I can offer maybe additional insight to someone else who's doing this work who doesn't have a law degree, because I do have a tremendous amount of experience in, I won't say strictly employment law, but in diversity in a business, what that looks like when it's not present, how companies can deal from a legal perspective with things like an employee who is transitioning genders in the workplace, not technically transitioning genders, but transitioning in the workplace. And I understand what happens if you get it wrong. So what I've really added to recently is my knowledge of the business numbers, right? I've always understood the legal aspects of it. So I understood the personal aspects of feeling excluded, the legal aspects of the consequences of exclusion. And now I really can understand and explain the business benefit, as well as the business cost right on the other side of that, if you're not including everyone, and if you're losing your best people, for example. So I think I like to say that, you certainly don't need to have a degree to do what I do, but I think it helps, gives you a little something extra. And, there you go. I have that legal brain.
So I can't help to think that with what you do, you are needed all over the country. So how does COVID affect your business? Do you travel a lot? Were you traveling a lot? How does the current environment affect your business?
So it used to be that I was traveling quite a bit. This business is still quite new for me, I would say, as far as being my full focus. I've been doing this work for 20 years, but also being a lawyer during my day job. But I have traveled a bit, and I think what's happening now with COVID is it's actually sort of leveling the playing field, because people can have me come and speak, and they don't need to think about travel expenses, and they can set up classes and not think about getting all their people to one location to attend the class. Now, of course, you lose that live element or that in-person element, but I am participating in a lot of events that are doing a really good job of recreating that. And online classes are, in some ways, for businesses, I think they're much better because the overall cost is cheaper, and you can open them up to more people just almost by definition. So I'm doing okay with that transition, right? I'm really I'm finding that some corporations are quite happy to have that online. Now, of course, I can't wait to be able to go back and talk to people and be in small groups in the room. And some of the best conversations happen right after you finish speaking, right? I'm sure you've experienced that, and you miss that a bit. So you have to be a little more forceful, I think, in emailing people and things like that. But yeah, I mean, I would imagine there'll be plenty of people who still want me to participate online, even after many of the restrictions are lifted. But I'm not getting on a plane anytime soon. I'll tell you that right now.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, is there anything else that you want to share with the audience that you think is important for them to know?
Oh my goodness. Well, so I guess this would be the time where I would say that I hope people could look forward to my upcoming webinar series or seminar series, Yes, All White People. And I'm going to be talking about white privilege. That's going to break down into 3 different sessions, 2 recorded sessions and 1 live session.
Is that
so that people can ask questions. Is that what?
Is that on your website?
Not yet. It will be very soon, however. And my website, even though I'm excited about it, I still have some things to add, like some resources and things. But if people would come to my website and then come back again, I'll make sure to add all kinds of cool information. That's my contact page there. You can get to that from any of the other pages, and it's meant to look like a comic book. So again, with that, hopefully that superhero theme.
It's quite fun, actually.
Well, thank you. Oh, the cape. There's the cape. There's the cape.
Oh, right.
There you go. Superhero.
Cool. Superhero.
Yeah, I gave myself, because it's my own business, I gave myself the title of metahuman, because why not, right? And I like to say that anybody who goes through training with me can call themselves a metahuman as well. So there we go.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much, Roxanne.
Cool.
Thank you. Yeah, that's where we have the superpowers there.
Yeah.
That was back when I could have my hair done by a professional. Now it's not quite as blonde. And I do some volunteer DJing there. That's what that one's about. But,
yeah, that's good to know. I'll remember that one.
Excellent. I hope you will. I love doing it.
And there is some more over here. So if they wanted to get a hold of you, they could find you just right on your website right here.
Yes, absolutely. That form is lots of details. So if you know you want a speaker for an event, that's a great form. You could fill that out just to reach out to me as well, or you can just use the contact page. Or as you see on the screen here, you can email me at tristan@metaclusive.com. And I myself will get back to you, and we'll be very happy to hear from any of your followers or watchers.
Excellent. Very good. Well, this was quite fun. Thank you so much.
For me as well. Thank you, Roxanne. Thank you for spending your precious airtime with me. I'm really flattered. Thank you.
Of course, of course. It was a pleasure. Really appreciate you joining us and letting us know about what you do. So if people are trying to get a hold of you, they can email you, or
yes,
they can use the phone number to call you.
Yes.
Is this phone number, can they text to this number?
Yes, they can. This is really a high quality production you've got going here, I have to say. I'm super impressed. Yes, they can text me at that number and email me as well. And would love to hear from anybody. Even if they just have questions, right, about resources, or if I can point somebody in the right direction, even if I'm not the person to, come in and do a speech for you. If you have questions, I love to hear from people, and I tend to learn from everybody I talk to. So I would be very excited to hear from some of your folks.
And you are a wealth of information. Not only a very well-versed person, but also an attorney for a number of years. So you're a resource and a wealth of information.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Roxanne. It was really an honor to be able to talk about what I do. It's really lovely that you gave me that opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you, and we'll see you soon. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Roxanne.